Hello, everybody. This is Rob Fredette with the podcast HODGEPOD. Another special guest for this episode 98. Unbelievable. I'm hitting that 100 mark in 2 episodes. I have a special guest. His name is Patrick Boylan. He's in LA, if I remember correctly. And he is joining me, and he's going to talk about this new app that's out there, but he's musically inclined. He's awesome. And he's been gracious enough to join me for my podcast. And Patrick, first of all, welcome.
Dude, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Excellent. Well, first of all, I'll let you introduce yourself and then talk about this new app that's out there, but I'm going to let you talk about it. So first of all, introduce yourself and then we'll have a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a pianist. I'm a multi-instrumentalist. I play piano. I sing. I play clarinet, tuba, mandolin, ukulele, acoustic guitar. But I make my money playing piano and singing at my piano bar down in Hollywood. And so that's what I do on the weekends. And during the day, I'm making this app, this music education app called MuseFlow. It's here to revolutionize music education by putting sight reading first, the act of reading music at first sight. That's how we're teaching you the new skills that you're going that you're supposed to be learning throughout the process of our music education curriculum. You know, usually you're given a skill and then you're given a couple songs to go home and practice, pretty much to boredom. And then you bring it back to your teacher, and your teacher checks them off perfect or not. And if it's not perfect, you got to go home and practice that thing again, right? It's just the worst. It's the worst situation. And I don't know if you've gone through it, but I went through it. I went through 8 years of that, and I hated it. So I was like, how is there there's got to be a better way. And so what we do is we use generative AI to create music that is right at your skill level. You can place yourself right where you are, where you want to be, where your skill matches the challenge. And then you learn the new skill of that level with generative music that never repeats. So you just keep going, right? Just keep playing. You hit 95% accuracy, you streak for 4 phrases, and then boom, you pass that level, and then songs get unlocked from there. So we're just adding a new step before the songs actually hit. That's more engaging, that's more fun, that's more creative, that's more flow. So that's what MuseFlow is all about, you know?
I am an avid consumer of music. I will say, I've said many times on my podcast, I don't know how to read a note. I don't know what a melody is. But would it be good for me to somebody who doesn't know anything to learn?
Yeah, you can learn the basics. We give the first level. First level is actually level 0. And level 0 teaches you what a piano is, teaches you what the keys on the keyboard actually are and what it looks like. And we give you both hands and you're just playing that one note and you're going over and over and over and you get that note correct. Great. You move on to the next level. Then we add one more note. And then the next level, we add one more note. And then there you go. You got 3 notes and you could finally first play your first melody. And so we have music that unlocks at level 3, songs that unlock at level 3. So yeah, you can learn from bare nothing. We got the basics in there for you.
Well, so it's it's just repetition and muscle memory. Is that what that is?
Yes, but we think about repetition as like repeating the same thing over and over. But what we're doing is we're repeating the same skill over and over. Okay. We're not telling you to go repeat the same notes over and over and over. The notes are going to change. The notes are going to be different every single time you play it. But the new skill that you're learning, whether that's a new note, a new rhythm, a new time signature, whatever it may be, right? You're learning that new skill, but we give you music that never repeats so that you're not learning it in this rut. You're not learning it in the context of this one song. You're learning it in a multitude of contexts that you could play with it, you know? So then you go apply that new skill to songs, you know? This was never possible to be able to happen before this technology that exists now. So that's why we decided to make it. You know,
that's great. And talk about your music journey to where you are now. How did you start playing music? I know you said you play many instruments, but talk about from where you began and where you are now, because you're playing piano bar, but you're also doing this MuseFlow by day. So it's probably a journey that you're loving every minute of it.
It's been a weird transition. I've been an actor, I've been a musician, and now I'm like moving into like tech co-founder stuff. Like what? It's the weirdest, but hey, I'm actually loving it. I'm really enjoying this journey. It's very gratifying to see something that you've conceptualized in your head for so long and actually seeing it on the screen actually working and then talking to the customers that are using it blows my mind. I'm loving it. So yeah, I started off, in the traditional way of doing 8 years of lessons, hated every second of it. My parents had to ground me because I wasn't practicing. It was the worst. I hated it. My ADD brain didn't really work with the idea of like, go over and practice this song to boredom. Just repeat the same notes over and over and over until you got it just so locked in and memorized, and then get that marked off by you wouldn't think that that's engaging, would you? Like, it's not engaging for me. Anyway, and then I my teacher retired, no fault of my own. He just retired. And I then went to my parents' sheet music, and I found some like little phrases, little bits that I really enjoyed, whether that's a little pattern or something like that, or a phrase, something, some motif, right? Some melody or something like that. And I really enjoyed it. And so I then closed the sheet music, and then I just started improvising around that, getting that sort of motif in my body, really fleshing that out. I put it in the right hand, I put it in the left hand, I transposed it, I inverted it, right? And then I was like, that was really cool. I exhausted all of it. And then I went to another one. I just did that over and over and over. And then cut to college. I was an acting major for a little bit. And a bunch of musical theater people just wanted a pianist to like play their songs for them. They kept throwing music in front of me. And I'd never seen the songs before, but I could play them because I had these skills. I had these little bits that I was pulling out of the music when I was younger were the base core foundation of what that music was made of. And so I was able to replicate it in the context of that song. Cut to 6 years ago. I was an actor here in LA. I still am. I still do a little bit. I do some commercials, some TV, some film, right? But it's not my main bread and butter. I just do it because it's like my biggest love, right? I love doing it. And I've still got my agents and everything like that. But I was doing that. I was doing the grind. I was like doing movies, doing TV shows. I was not making everything that I needed to make. And so I still had to have a serving job. And so my girlfriend at the time, wife now, I was getting really burnt down. I was getting really depressed. I was like, I'm not making it in the thing that I want to make, And she's like, why don't you go play piano, man? You've been doing it your entire life. You're too good. Go play piano. And I'm like, I don't want to do it. It's like so close to my heart, I don't want to like bastardize my love for piano. And she's like, Pat, go F yourself. Go do it. You need to. Are you joking? You're an actor. Go. You live with your heart on your sleeve. Go try it. And if you don't like it, then don't do it. I'm like, all right, fine. Wesley, stop yelling at me. And so I did. I did. And then 3 months later, I got my first gig. And then returns started happening from there. I got a background jazz gig. I got another background jazz gig playing at restaurants around LA for their dinner service. Just they had a piano in their dining hall. And so I just like played. Got paid for that, got paid for my some accompaniment stuff that I did for like after school programs. And then I got my piano bar, and I'd been playing there for the past 6 years. And so the gigs have been falling in and out here and there. It's like in and out, private gigs here and there, whatever it may be. Like I've just created a network for myself here in Los Angeles as like the gig economy. But the thing that's been really stable is that piano bar. And so then cut to 2 years ago, I was like, maybe I could teach other people the way that I taught myself. And so that was the birth of MuseFlow. And
you probably would have never have had that inspiration to do MuseFlow if you didn't get into piano. Did you ever look back at that and say, what would have happened if you didn't go back into like what your wife, then now your girlfriend, now wife said?
Yeah, no, seriously. I thank her all the time for it. She knows. And she's well aware of her like pushing me to do this. Yeah. She takes full credit, fully. So
well, that's good. That's good. Happy wife, happy life. That's the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you off on a tangent. You mentioned you did acting in television and film. So what are some things that we might know, my listeners might know that you probably acted in?
There's these Mako commercials that are out there right now. I don't know if you know Mako, the car detailing company.
Yeah.
I'm their de facto spokesperson these days. It's a weird gig, man. It's a weird gig, but they create these commercials for me, and there's a lot of singing and a lot of acting and a lot of playing instruments. And like, you go look online and look up Mako Patrick Boylan, and you'll find me on there. Like there's a at least like 6 of them, I think, or 4 or 5 or something like that. That's cool. That's a fun gig. That's because that's a reoccurring gig, and that's a good paycheck. That's been really nice. And then I was the big bad in a digital series called Sunny Family Cult for 2 seasons. It was a horror series. Yeah, Sunny Family Cult was really fun. I've done some random movies. I've done some TV shows. I've done some short films, just stuff like that,
Cool.
Yeah, but again, it was never one of those things that truly sustained me creatively and financially. It's something that I love so desperately to do. I find deep flow state there where I'm perfectly challenged just right outside of my skill set, and I'm engaged. I'm so present, and I'm there. I'm engaging with the other actors and the director, and we're all doing this together. 300 people on set making a film together. It's the most riveting thing for me ever. Cool. And if I could do that for the rest of my life, I absolutely would.
That's amazing when you look at the movies, and I've talked to some people in the movie business on my podcast, and they've talked about one thing I never paid attention to were background actors. Background actors are so important to any film or television. I would not be good at it because I'd be looking at the camera. I would not be a good actor. So I've always said, I said 1,000 times on this podcast. And one thing about musicians is it's amazing how you can get up in front of an audience and play a piano or sing, or groups or artists that get in front of audiences and stadiums. You can do that and focus. I wouldn't be very focused at it. So talk about that if you would, because that has to be a discipline mindset, because I wouldn't be able to do it because I'm more of a consumer.
Okay.
And it's amazing how people can get up in front of just have people look at them doing what they do. It might sound kind of weird the way I'm saying it, but it's kind of like, it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat that people can do that and focus on that when there's people all around. I think that's what it's like going to a football game or a Dodgers game in LA. It's like 9 guys out in the field. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And you've got like hundreds of thousands of people, let alone millions on TV watching you do the thing. And you would feel like deeply under pressure to do that, right? And you would kind of crumble underneath all of that, is what you're saying, or what? Or,
I have a podcast here.
Yeah.
I'm an average Joe, but it's amazing how people get pro athletes. They, like you said, millions, like the Tyson Paul fight, was it 50 million people?
Oh my God, insane. Right.
Yeah. So it's just amazing how people get in front of audiences. So what is that like for you when you get in front of an audience, or when you act with like 300 people on the set? You have to really be focused.
Oh, absolutely.
I guess that's what to say.
I mean, that's the beauty of it, though. It's like, I've noticed that there's a through line in my life of trying to find flow state, which is that groove where you lose a sense of time and you're like deeply present and focused in the activity that you're doing, because it's just a little challenging, but you've got the skills to do it. A lot of people that are athletes talk about this. They talk about they find flow when they're doing their sport. A lot of actors talk about this. A lot of musicians talk about it. They find flow because they're like, they have to be engaged in the present. They have to be right there with the task at hand, right? Otherwise they lose it. Otherwise they can't tell the story, or they can't perform properly. That's always something that I'm craving. That's always something that I strive for. And I think being in front of an audience is one of the things that is the pressure to make me focused and present and engaged with the activity that I'm doing. I have to do it for them. They're the audience and I'm entertaining them. I have to do my job, and I love doing what I'm doing. And so it's this perfect combination of I love playing these songs. I love singing. I love telling stories. I love acting, all of that good stuff, right? And they love to watch it. It's this perfect like reciprocal thing that's happening.
Yeah.
So I find that being in front of people and doing my thing, creatively speaking, is deeply flow inducing. Yeah.
I did some research prior to getting on, and there's an article, U.S. Business News, talked about your MuseFlow app. So talk about that. It was in the September 24th issue, and it's pretty much a groundbreaking app. Talk about that, if you would, and talk about the app.
Yeah, well, groundbreaking, mound-breaking. I mean, yeah, sure, it's groundbreaking. Like you can say that the way that we're teaching music is truly a revolution. We are breaking out of the traditional way of teaching music, which is that the classic way that I was talking about, right? It's here's the new skill, whether that's a new note or a new rhythm, and then go home and practice these songs, right? That's the traditional way of teaching music. We're saying, no, forget about that. That's not working for people. There's an 85% drop off after high school of people stopping to play stop playing their instruments. 85%. And I'm like, there's got to be a problem here. So what we realized through discourse, me and my co-founder, Steven, he's a music teacher and I'm a professional pianist. And so we just started talking about this idea and really spitballing it, right? Of like, what if we put sight reading as the core foundation of music education instead of songs? There's a way to do this that's flow inducing. Cool. We just give you an infinite amount of music. Okay, great. How do we do that? Oh, okay. Either we write all the music or we've got an AI that we train that generates that music for you. That's what a lot of people consider to be the groundbreaking part of this. We're using an AI right now to generate a little bit of our music, but we're training this AI so it can create more and more complicated pieces and that infinitely continue and generate, and it never repeats. And the goal is to get it to a place where we can be deeply personalized. We can deeply personalize it for you. Say we notice that there's an interval that you're messing up, right? Just between two notes, right? You're playing these notes wrong, just for some reason, these two notes, back to back, always. And the AI will be able to recognize that. It will be able to see that you're messing up that specific interval. And so you'll never notice this, but it'll give you more phrases that work that one specific interval. It'll exercise that for you. It's exposure therapy at the end of the day. And so then you can get that specific interval up to the same competency as the other skills that we're training. And then there we go. Now we move you forward. So we can keep you on an even playing field across all these different meta skills that we're tracking. That's just one part of it, is this personalization aspect. But, we want it to be a part of the educational journey. So it's not like we're like a big AI product. I mean, we are like, that's ultimately like what's generating some of this music, right? And what is ultimately going to be generating the majority of this music. But we also have it's the three-pronged approach to music education. It's sight reading, the act of reading music at first sight. It's songs, which is called repertoire and songs. And then we've got the theory and exercise components. Theory is like why you're playing those things or why music is composed this way, the theory behind it, right? So that's the three-pronged approach to music education. And the only part that's really going to be generated with an AI is going to be the sight reading component of it all. But still, we've got this ecosystem of features that you as a user can use to work on your skills as a self-learner, or we've got the laid out curriculum for you, however you want to do it, So that's a little bit about the app and how it is groundbreaking, I guess it is considered to be a groundbreaking approach because we are disrupting a very traditional method of teaching music. That's how it's been taught for thousands of years. And so we're saying, no, there's a different way. How about this way with the use of technology?
Yeah. And the technology. So if someone's learning how to play a piano and they miss something, it picks that off and then that's awesome. And then you can go at your own pace, right?
Exactly. Yes, absolutely. You can choose how fast you want to go, the tempo, it's called the beats per minute, right? How many beats you have per minute. That's the tempo. And you can adjust that depending on how you're doing. We'll be able to adjust that, later down the road. We'll have an automatic tempo adjustment. Say we notice that you're playing at 75% accuracy for 4 phrases in a row. We'll recognize that and we'll say, well, that's not right. We need to lower. You're out of flow state at that point because you're messing up too much. It's too hard for you at that point. So what we'll do is lower the tempo. We'll say, play it at this rate. It's easier when you play it slower. So we'll lower the tempo for you. We want this to be the most flow, least amount of touch that you have to do on your keyboard. We don't want you to have to press next all the time or like backspace or moving your mouse around or whatnot. We want to make this seamless for you. That's the goal. The user experience of this whole thing is flow state,
Have you gotten any feedback from anybody who's used it? And what's that been like? Because what are some success stories that you've had?
That's wild, man. So we have about 40 people that are using this right now that we don't know. I mean, I know them because I'm like emailing with them every week and like asking them. There are what is called early adopters in the tech industry. they call them the early adopters, people that are really interested in like influencing the product that you're making as you're going forward and as you're building it, right? And we want their feedback. And so I'm talking with them constantly. I'm asking them how they're doing, where they're at. I can see where they're at. We've got the data coming through to our backend and our analytics and everything like that. So I'm seeing what levels they're playing and how they're doing, how long they're spending on each level. And I can reach out to them and be like, okay, you've been playing level 26, which is the highest level that we've got so far in Unit 1. You've been playing level 26 over and over and over for weeks. Why are you doing that? And they come back to me and they're like, okay, well, I've got a really high stressful job. And whenever I come home from that job, I just want to veg out sometimes, but instead I put on MuseFlow and I drop in and I'm at level 26 and I've already completed your entire curriculum. But what I do is I just lower the BPM, the tempo, by 1 beat per minute. I lower it from 72 to 71. So I can't pass the level. Because you have to be at the goal tempo for 4 phrases in a row at 95% accuracy. That's the gamification aspect of it all. Got to be at the correct pace, right? And you have to get 95% accuracy of the course of 4 phrases. And so what they do is they lower the tempo by 1 beat per minute so that they'll never pass the level. They'll be playing at 98, 99, 100% all the time, but they'll never pass. So they're just playing the infinitely generated, never repeating music. And I'm like, that's so interesting. Why are you doing that? And they're like, it's so relaxing for me. I find flow by doing that. I have to be present. I have to be focused on the task at hand. I'm not perfect, but that's not the point. The point is that I'm being challenged just a little bit out of my comfort zone so that I'm playing all this stuff. And it makes me just so there and so present. And I do it for 30 minutes a day. And I find it to be the most relieving thing that is in my life right now. I work out and then I play MuseFlow. Those are my 2 things that make me present right now. And I'm like, that is so cool. I never would have expected that use case. And then we've also got, 8, 9, 10-year-olds that are using this with their teachers as a sight reading trainer. So, and then we've got middle ground people that want to learn how to play more songs. So they're learning the core skills of music in our sight reading trainer. And so that they then can go apply and learn more songs better and faster. That's also a use case that we've learned, that if you get your sight reading level to a higher proficiency, you'll be able to learn more songs at a higher difficulty faster. And that's not the fun part of playing music, learning how to technically play a piece properly. That's not really that fun. What's really fun, though, is when you start making those choices on pieces of music that you're playing. Why are you playing that song that way? How do you want to play that song? Do you want to play it loud? Do you want to play it soft? Why? What about it makes you want to play that way? That's the fun part of playing music, right? So we want to get you to a place where you can play technically proficiently like that very quickly so that then you could start making those choices on that music. And we've noticed that people are doing that too. So it kind of runs the gambit of like young versus old, the application of it. People just want to find flow state, or people are actually using this as a sight reading trainer. People are using this to make a little bit more money on side gigs because they want more songs that they can play, all that stuff, right? It's very interesting. I'm loving hearing all this feedback from people. It's honestly extremely gratifying for me.
That's awesome, because now you have it's out there now and you're getting feedback, and that probably helps your app as well, improve as time is moving on. You're getting that feedback so that you're laying a foundation as more people get onto it. I think that's great.
I mean, there was one person asked for a cursor. Like we have a playhead that goes across the screen, across the music that you follow. So you'll be following that cursor. It's like a highlighted, vertical kind of scroll thing, right? Mm-hmm. That goes across the music at the pace of that you need to play. Somebody asked for that to toggle on and off. They were like, it's so distracting. Like, I want to be able to play this in time by myself. I don't want to be, I don't want to have to be focused on this cursor as it's going across the screen. Can I have a toggle that's on and off? And we were like, that's a great idea. We honestly never even thought about it. And we did that in a week. We did that in a week for them,
One thing about the piano is that versus probably the electric guitar, you have the acoustic guitar, the drums are pretty much, bang, bang, bang. But the piano, you can play fast, heavy, but you can also play subtle songs with the piano, and you can play it really delicate. And that's what's really neat about the piano. Talk about that, if you would, please, because it's very, like, when I go to church, they play it very nice and it's just very soothing. And then you'll see a rock concert like Guns N' Roses playing November Rain.
Yeah, for sure.
It's one of those ones because it's very durable. It's a very strong instrument. It's huge. You're sitting down and you can pretty much hit it pretty hard, can't you?
Oh, I mean, at my piano bar, I have to play it super hard, We break that thing constantly, man. There's a repairman in there every other weekend fixing that piano up. Yeah, because we're banging on that thing so hard and we're stomping on the pedals. We're really going for it because we're there to like entertain and like engage the crowd. And so we have to play this like super upbeat and super hardcore, like chords, pounding it. My fingers are they're so fat because it's just so much tendon in here. It's like, but they're so strong. Yeah, it's a fascinating, versatile instrument that I love. I find it, it was my first instrument. And I think there's applications where I don't want to actually use the piano for that song. I want to use a guitar for it. Of course, I can't do that at my piano bar, but I'm saying like in other contexts, a mandolin would suit a piece better than, say, a piano would. It's not the most versatile instrument. I don't think that there's really any instrument out there that is the utter most versatile, but I would say it is really close to being like, it might be considered to be the most versatile. It's not like the ultimate version of what a versatile instrument would be, but I think that's why it's so a part of our world, where you can get rock concerts that play the piano. You can get rock artists, or you can get a ballet class. They use pianos in both situations. So it is a very versatile instrument. You've got 10 fingers. You've got 10 notes that you could play, sometimes even 12, because my thumb will play 2 notes at one time, sometimes on purpose. And so, yeah, you've got so many different versions, so many different patterns, so many different things you can do with these digits, that we've got here. So, yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why it is. Also, it's a complex piece. It's 88 keys, 88 notes. You've got, it's a half a ton instrument at its least. And it's like a 2-ton instrument at its most. It's pretty wild, man. Yeah, it's pretty wild. I've had to move way too many pianos in my life, and it sucks. I'm telling you, it's the worst.
How much does the piano player cost? How much does a piano cost? Do you know the cost? Do you happen to know what the cost? Because it's got to be in the probably tens of thousands of dollars, right?
It depends, because nowadays people don't really like to have the instrument in their homes. It used to be a major fixture of people's homes. Back in the 40s, back in the 30s, way back in the 1800s, when there was no like recorded music, you had to go to a concert hall to listen to music. We didn't have it just like on our person. It was such a prized possession to have a piano at your house so that one of your family members actually knew how to play music. What a gift when it's that scarce. But nowadays we have music on our phones. We have music so portable with us. It's so mobile that it's not as prized to have a piano in your home anymore. So you'll find one on Craigslist for $100. You'll find one on Craigslist that it's free as long as you move it. You'll find ones that are Steinway, that are like these massive grand pianos that are the 2-ton pieces of, beauty that I have the opportunity to play all the time. I'm like very, very lucky that I got a chance I had a key to my concert hall back in my undergrad. I was like the only undergrad that had a key to this concert hall. And they had these 2 beautiful Steinway grands that I was able to play. I turned the spotlight on and I went in there half drunk like every weekend. I just brought in a bunch of people and we all just sang and just jammed together. Like that's my education. That's where I got my education.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it
ranges.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned back in the 1800s, somebody would play. The families would probably sing songs together, right? Back in those days, right?
Yeah. I try to replicate that. I do. I often have a lot of my musical theater friends over, And they just throw music in front of me and I just play them and they sing them. It's a salon. It's like we drink, we get a little drunk, we get, have a great time and we all just sing songs together, It's
So
a lot of.
So do you take requests?
All
Can
the
you play
time.
so if I said play Misunderstanding by Genesis, would you, or something Michael Jackson, you could play it, no problem?
If I knew the song, yes.
Gotcha. Okay, I got you. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to like how I taught myself how to play piano, And a lot of piano bar entertainers, they have to be able to play so many songs. Like I only can play 700 songs. But
700, man.
But my cohort, the people that play at my piano bar and around the world, they travel around the world playing shows. They can play 2,000, 3,000 songs. So it like blows your mind when you think about it that way. They're like, they have so many that are in their heads that they can just play it like that. Crazy, right? 3,000 songs. So yeah. But I'm not like that. I mean, the way that I do it at my piano bar is I got a QR code that I post around the bar that goes to my song list. And so people scan that, they look at my song list, they find a song that they want, and then they Venmo me from there. And then they just write it in the little message box what they want with a couple bucks and they throw that to me. And that's my digital cue. And so I just have my Venmo up next to my iPad at the piano, But yeah, awesome. A lot of people are like, just let me know what you want and I'll be able to play it. Yeah. And I'm like, I can't do that, man. That's crazy. I got to at least know the song first. How do you do that otherwise? I have no idea.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's amazing. Oh, wow, that's great. Yeah, I'll play whatever you want to hear. Let me know what's going on.
Yeah, and they give you like the deepest. They've heard the song once, and then they can replicate it. That's not me, man. Like I've got to at least hear the song 3 times. So which is still like kind of crazy if you really think about it, but I at least have to hear it 3 times to be able to play that. Yeah.
Wow. I was in college. I had 2 roommates and they had photographic memory. I had to like study, read, study. I didn't have photographic memory. So I know what it's about. You got to learn and digest and get the feel for it. So who were some of your inspirations as growing up as far as musicians or groups or things of that nature?
I mean, you got the classics, Billy Joel, Elton John, the pianists that are really good. They play so differently. And I love listening to their music and I love analyzing like how they play, right? Billy Joel is a lot more lyrical and a lot more melodically focused. And then Elton John is very rhythmic. Again, talking about the versatility of the piano, right? You can see in both of their styles how differently they play. I was a big Dave Matthews fan when I was younger. Yeah. I went to a couple of his concerts back in Chicago, and I was a big musical theater nerd. I still am. So Stephen Sondheim, shout out to that guy. He's an incredible composer. Love his stuff. Love his music. He was the guy he pioneered writing songs for musicals that were so character driven, meaning like they're speaking truth from their heart. And the story is being driven with the songs and the plot and the character. Everything is combined in those songs. Everything is being driven forward. Whereas most of the times in musicals, these songs were just like offshoots of the plot. And then they got back to the plot after the song, right? Stephen Sondheim changed that. He decided that the songs were going to be the pivotal moments where the plot actually changes. And it's all going to be from the character themselves, not from external factors. The characters are the ones that are going to be driving the plot. That's a character-driven play. That's a character-driven piece. He was the one that really revolutionized that. And so you listen to some of his pieces and you're like, what? It blows your mind because he's like, these actors have to explore such complex emotions through song. That's why he casted a lot of actors who could sing, not singers who could act. You've really got to be able to act the shit out of a piece, out of a Sondheim piece, So yeah, I think those are kind of my main people. I also love folk, so Mumford & Sons, Simon and Garfunkel, those kind of bands. Yeah, we listened to a lot of Gloria Estefan when we were younger.
Yeah.
What about you? Like
Miami Sound Machine.
Yeah, great. What about you? Like, what were some of your favorite formative bands growing up?
Well, Well, mine were like rock, but you mentioned Elton John, Billy Joel. I remember growing up in the 70s. Van Halen was really one for me.
Great.
Uh,
Okay, cool.
the Stones, the Beatles,
Nice.
obviously. No, those are on the list. REM, I love.
Nice. Okay,
Um,
yeah.
and Genesis, Phil Collins, I'm into him. Tom Petty, it varies. Metallica, I love Metallica. So yeah, I have
Great.
different, so it's pretty good. You mentioned Elton John, that piano in Tiny Dancer is just amazing.
Dun, dun, dun,
Tiny,
dun, dun, dun. Yeah,
that's a,
it's like beautiful.
he just, it just the whole, it just sucks you in right away. That piano is just, you mentioned that, but yeah, those are my groups.
Phil Collins, man. Phil Collins is like such an incredible songwriter, isn't he?
Oh God. He was really great with Genesis. And then when he went solo in the 80s, he was just like, he was up there with Michael. I mean, just amazing. You look at like, you play the piano, like, do you sing when you also as well? Yeah. So when you're singing, it's amazing how pianists like can play the piano and also sing, and they know what piano keys to hit. And then like Phil Collins, when he was with Genesis, that song that came out, Abacab, he's banging the drums and singing with the microphone.
Yeah.
I'd be all over the place. It's just, I love watching that video, but those are just things that I look at that I just find amazing how musicians can do that. You can sing and then play the piano.
It becomes second nature, the piano. I've got to get the piano so second nature that I can focus on the vocals, or vice versa. Like we've got to get the vocals down so perfectly. Like I just got to be memory at that point, muscle memory at that point, or because I'm really focused on the piano. There's a couple tunes that go back and forth that way, where either I'm like really focused on the vocals or I'm really focused on the piano. It just depends on the song,
Mm-hmm. So when you're at the piano bar, do you have a lot of repeat customers that come? What is that like?
Oh yeah. A lot of people that I know that I'm like, oh, I know your favorites. I know your favorite song. I know your favorite song. You really want me to play that? Okay. All right. I'll play that again. You got to tip me well though. All right. Okay. Fine. I'll play.
How long do you play when you're at the piano bar? How long do you go?
I'm there tomorrow. I'll be there from 8 to 11. And then somebody comes in after me from 11 until closing. Sometimes you're there for 4 hours. Sometimes you're there for 2. Most of the time though, it's 3. Yeah.
LA is a pretty neat town. I've been there a couple times, been to a couple of Dodger games. What
Dodger games. Yep.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
People were rioting. People were so excited about the World Series, man. I was camping that weekend. I was camping in Joshua Tree. There were people that were projecting the game at their campsite around us, watching the game.
Really?
And it was incredible. Yeah. You were like, you're out in nature, you're camping, and you're still watching the Dodgers game. But of course they are, because of the World Series. And it was the last game. And you're like, and everybody rioted at the end. Everybody was so excited that it was fireworks. It was nuts, man. It was nuts.
I grew up in Boston. Fenway Park's my all-time favorite.
Yeah.
But my all-time favorite ballpark to go to, if you've never been, is Dodger Stadium. Chavez Ravine in the background, watching a game at 6:00. It's heaven when you go to a Dodgers game. There's nothing like it. Driving up to the stadium, it's absolutely spectacular. Been there twice. I'm going to try to go there another time. But yeah, Dodgers games are a lot of fun. I love the PA announcer. I love the organ.
Yeah.
I love the whole ambiance of the Dodger dogs. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And it's like, you're right. It's like right in the middle of the mountains,
Yeah.
You're in this ravine, and the mountains are all up around you. It's the same thing with like the Hollywood Bowl is an amphitheater that's here in LA. And it's the same idea. It's just you're embedded within the mountains, and it's the most gorgeous thing when the sun is going down. Can't beat it.
I love it when they had the overhead shots on the blimp looking down at Dodger Stadium. Oh yeah, I remember going there. It's pretty cool driving in, and actually that was the friendliest ballpark I ever went to. The staff there was amazing.
It's great to hear.
The fan experience for me both times was absolutely awesome. Could not say enough great things about Dodger Stadium.
That's great to hear, man.
Yeah. What are some other good things about LA that you like to talk about? I know we're talking about music. I know you're in LA.
Yeah. What are some of the good things? Look, I will always say the beach, but I live on the east side, and it takes me about an hour and a half to get there. I don't know, man. I like my friends. I just love you can get two things here in LA. You can get the superficiality, But you could get people that are just out here for fame, or you can get people that are here to make great art. And I'm here to make great art, and all my friends are here to make great art. And so that's what we talk about. That's what we do. You know, I've got the AMC Stubbs pass. I go to the movies all the time. I've got, we go to concerts. Like so many bands come on through. One of my favorite bands just came through recently, Lawrence. It's this like soul pop soul pop kind of group, right? Love them. And I think it's like one of the coolest hubs to be, you get the bad parts, you get Hollywood right now is a kind of terrible. It's, just kind of gross and grimy. And you get a lot of the unhoused out here, but like you can't beat the weather, man. I love it. And whenever I go out here, whenever I can get to the beach, it's one of the most cleansing things of my entire week. If ever I get a chance to just go there. Cause like, thankfully I'm a freelancer. And so I'm able to just go on a Tuesday morning to the beach if ever I wanted to. And so look, I got my favorite beach is Leo Carrillo Beach. It's these beautiful coves that you can get on in, and you can get your own private one for like, on a Tuesday morning, nobody's there. And so just walking on down into this beautiful ravine with these sands, and you're just alone with the ocean, man, It's the most beautiful thing ever. So I think the concerts, I do love the sports, like going to Clippers games are really fun.
Really?
I love I don't know, man. I love the Clippers. I think there's some of the like the improvisation that they were doing like a couple of years ago on the court was like so amazing to me. I was like, I've never seen anything like this, And so that was really innovative, and I found that very engaging. The food here is pretty decent, and I love my friends. They're all very real, very down to earth, and we're all here to make really good art. So
that's cool. Cool. So what was the last song you heard on your playlist? I like to ask people on my podcast, what was the last song? Because I love music so much. What was the last song you heard on your playlist?
Is Helplessness Blues by Fleet Foxes. I don't know if you've ever heard that before.
I have not. What's their genre?
Folk music. Well, yeah.
I'm going to look them up. I love new bands.
Take a look. I love the lyrics of this. Let me look this up. Hold on one second. Helplessness Blues lyrics. I love these lyrics. I'm obsessed with them. Can I share them with you?
Sure. Yeah, please do.
Okay. So the lyrics are, and it really hit me today, man. This really hit me today for some reason. I'll tell you why, but I was raised up believing I was somehow unique, like a snowflake distinct among snowflakes, unique in each way you can see. And now after some thinking, I'd say I'd rather be a functioning cog in some great machinery, serving something beyond me. But I don't know what that will be. I'll get back to you someday soon. You will see.
Wow.
I just love that so much because there's something about it that like really hits me. And then at the end, he says, if I had an orchard, I'd work till I'm raw, and you would wait tables and soon run the store. Gold hair in the sunlight, my light in the dawn. If I had an orchard, I'd work till I'm sore. And then at the end, the last line is, someday I'll be like the man on the screen. And so to me, this song juxtaposes this like, you were raised up believing you were somehow unique, right? You were raised up believing that you were this snowflake, right? And like do what is right for you, right? But then I know I have this feeling too. I do also wish that I just didn't have to think about that. I just was this cog in this machine doing something that was greater than myself, working towards something that's greater than myself, right? But then at the end, he says, if I had an orchard, right? Like it's the simplest, most, working with your hands, tilling the soil kind of work, right? Down to earth. If I had an orchard, I'd work till I'm sore. And then, I'd go home to my wife and that's it. That's my life. That's it. But then he says, someday I'll be like the man on the screen. And to me, that's like, he's looking at a movie. And to me, I'm like, well, he's looking at the actor and he's like, maybe I'd be an actor someday. Maybe I'd be that person on the screen. And so you get this weird juxtaposition of like, I want to show myself. I want to be that person on the screen. I want to show that to the millions and the masses. But then I also want to have this very simple, private, hands in the dirt kind of life. I have that inside of me. I have that juxtaposition.
Mm-hmm.
I want this beautiful, grand life where I'm influencing millions of people on a daily basis. But I also want this very simple, down to earth, organic life as well. So I don't know if I'm ever going to find that perfect balance. I think that's just inside of me, that duality. But that's what this song kind of is for me.
Yeah, those are some very powerful lyrics. I'm going to have to listen to that song and put them on my playlist because I always
Tell
like
me what
learning.
you think.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you? What was your last song?
My last song was The Kinks, Superman. It's a song that came out in the late 70s. Just a good song, get you rolling. It's like it. I heard it the early right before we came on. It just has that flow to it.
Woke up this morning, started to sneeze. I had a cigarette and a cup of tea.
Yeah.
I looked in the mirror. What did I see? A 9-stone weakling with knobby knees.
Yeah. Yeah. I love, you know what? That's one song I can lip sync when I hear it. That's what's good about music too. You hear the lyrics and you hear like the transition in the songs. It's good for memory as well.
Yeah, totally.
Songs, I love, that's why I just like the way that song flows for them because it's a lot of bit different from the early, the British invasion days. They evolved and that song just has a great flow to it. Just everything, the instruments, the singing, it was just really good. I love that song.
All right, man, I'm checking this one out. I'll let you know what I think. And you let me know what you think about Fleet Foxes. I don't know. It sounds like you're not like the biggest folk fan, but like, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this though, for sure.
I will give it a listen and I'll get back to you on it because I love listening to new music and just different bands. Trying to get away. I listen to let's see, we got Motown. I'll listen to alternative. I'll listen to grunge. I get in a grunge mood, but 80s is really my decade.
Sure,
But I like listening to 60s and 70s, just all different genres. It brings back memories, but you think about like where you were when you hear certain songs back in the day. So it puts you in a spot here. So is that like that for you too?
Oh my God, absolutely. I even remember like the first time I listened to a song, I'm like, this one smell is very insane for me. Why am I smelling orange when I'm listening to this smell? Why? It's extremely visceral, Yeah. And a time and a place of like where you heard that song for the first time. Yeah, totally.
You've heard of 21 Pilots, haven't you?
I just went to their concert. Yeah, they're so good.
Way. So the one song, I love the song. I don't know a lot of their songs, but I'm more of a 80s and 90s, but Stressed Out, that's a great song.
That's such a good song. Yes.
That's the one song that you look back when you listen to.
Hold on. I think I got it. Sometimes a certain smell will take me back to when I was young. How come I'm never able to identify where it's coming from? I'll make a candle out of it if I ever find it. Try to sell it. Never sell out of it. I probably only sell one. Maybe to my brother. Good. I remember that. I love that song. it's such a good tune. Yeah.
It's a great song. It's kind of sad when you look back at your memories. That it's a great song, but it's also you look back and you wish you had those memories back. It's really cool. 21 Pilots.
Such a good band, man. They were able to captivate an auditorium of, God, how many people were there? I think 30 or 40,000 people were at this auditorium that we saw them at here in LA. And they were just so incredible. And it's just two guys. And you're like, it's insane. They're like consummate musicians. They are incredible at what they do, right? But they were so good. The drummer and the piano and the multi-instrumentalist, what's his face? The singer as well, the singer-songwriter of it all. He plays piano, synth, guitar. Yeah. Incredible. They were able to captivate an audience of 30,000 people, and it's just the two of them. Blew my mind.
I'm not a singer, but I love when he goes, I'm stressed out. I love that part of the way they sing that. I just love the way that singers change their voices, and that you can just tell they put everything they had into that song. It's really great.
Totally. Yeah.
So Patrick, talk about your app again. We just talked about it and where you can get it, MuseFlow, and please talk about that if you would.
Yeah, it's just, you can go to the website museflow.ai and you can start the free trial. Right now you need a MIDI compatible keyboard that hooks up to your computer. We're in the middle of making the app. We're in the middle of making an audio recognition algorithm. We've already made it. We just need to like test it out and tweak it just a little bit, where the goal is to get your iPad or your phone on your piano, whatever that is, your keyboard or an actual acoustic piano, and it would be able to listen to you and play. And so that's the goal. So you don't have to like plug it in, plug in your keyboard. So, but right now, you have to have a MIDI compatible keyboard, hook it to your computer, start the free trial, try it out. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear what you think. You can email me, patrick.boylan@museflow.ai. I would also love to give your audience a discount code.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Maybe we can just do like, I don't know, Rob 50, if that works for you. Or do you want to do like HODGEPOD 50?
Yeah, let's do HODGEPOD 50.
All right, done. HODGEPOD 50. That'll get you 50% off for life. Okay. We're still very much in the phase of like gathering up new users, I want to see what you think. If you want to be a part of this journey of like building the app with us, like give us feedback and we will incorporate that. That's the whole thing that we're doing right now. Right. So yeah, HODGEPOD 50, use that. Maybe stick that in your show notes for the episode, just so people got it.
Trust me, I will. So it's HODGEPOD 50 for life, right?
Yeah, man. For life. HODGEPOD 50.
That is a deal. That's a great deal. I may even do it if I get a keyboard, but my wife, here's something really funny. My wife can't stand it sometimes. When I hear songs on the radio that have keyboards or synthesizers, and I pretend I'm playing the keyboard, she gives me the dirty look every time.
Yeah. Why? Why does she give you a dirty look?
Because I'm a ham. I like, pretending I'm playing air guitar.
Of course, yeah.
I'm not a drummer, but I like playing guitar. And like, I love like when you watch the old videos from the 80s, the guy sing with the microphone. He's got the two keyboards on the side. I'm like, yeah, dude. Doing that, man.
I love that you're so impressed. I love that.
Hey, I like watching the videos. I like watching performers. It's just really amazing. And if I ever get out to LA, I'm going to head out to where you are at. I'm going to seek you out and we're going to go check you out.
Please. Yeah. Come on over. Like, please give me a call. I'd love to hang out if you're here.
Yeah, absolutely. So don't forget now, HODGEPOD 50 is the promo code. You get MuseFlow for life. So that is a promise by Patrick Boylan, who's joined me. And it was quite an honor to have you on, Patrick. I really appreciate the time that you came on. I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much.
Dude, it's utterly my pleasure. And also, what a pleasure to talk to you too. I love your energy. You're great. You're fantastic.
Thank you very much. Thank you.